I didn't do it. Damn it. I forgot.
Haha, bitch. You told me you were going to get me this time, and you didn't do it.
I wasn't paying any attention.
Yeah, see, that's what you got to start paying attention, my man.
I know.
So he told me last week he was going to try to get the spike in the
get you
audio
next
first,
week,
and
next week.
he's not going to do it. You're not going to do it again.
Aiden,
You'll forget.
We're going to get it next week.
If
One
you
of
just
us.
tighten the
One
arm,
of
that
us.
last one, we'll get it. Well, hey. You ready to go?
What's going on? Yeah, I'm trying to wake up here.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the On the Brink podcast. My name is Matt Brinker. This is Colby Likens, and we have my good friend Wayne Stump here with us. And I am excited to have him because this is, I would call Mike a friend, but I think this is my first my friend that's been on here. And you know me like I have one friend, everybody. By the way, the middle camera is our main camera, if you didn't know.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have one friend, everybody. His name is Wayne Stump. That's all I have. Oh yeah, Colby.
Jeez, man, you really threw me under the bus there.
No, it's all right.
No,
I have
feel you,
Colby
man.
too. This will go very fast, by the way. You'll probably blink and we'll be about done. So
Sweet.
Yeah, but
That's how the beer goes for me.
so the beer goes for him. We'll get into all that in a little bit. I don't know if you've been watching. I know you've seen some of the clips of what we've done, but we go for about an hour here, and we're excited to have you because you are also the first real artist. Not that anybody else is not an artist, but like art. So why don't you give us a quick, not 50, maybe 60.
50?
No, not 50. Not 15 minutes,
time do
Eric,
we
you motherfucker. You're allowed to cuss, by the way.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. And with Aiden here, we can literally run unlimitedly until the cameras die. So we could be a 3-hour episode if we wanted to.
Aiden's like, please
the
don't.
extravaganza begins.
Yeah, we don't want all that though. But why don't you give us a quick, because you don't know Colby and Colby doesn't really know you.
Yeah.
So give us a quick, who are you, what do you do, and then we'll get rolling from there, my man.
So first off, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate you guys letting me come on here and talk with you guys. But my name is Wayne Stump. I reside from Portsmouth, Ohio. I have a studio there. Born and raised in California. I went to school at Pitt, or the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, rather. And then I did my graduate degree from Marshall, and that kind of trickled me down to Portsmouth. So
that's where we met
right,
in
exactly.
Huntington.
Yep, we met when I was in grad school.
Yep.
But we met a few times before that.
We'll get into all that. We've got plenty of funny
yeah.
stories.
That is a funny story.
That second half hour, I can't wait.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be
It's
fun.
kind of like when two people just really don't like each other meet. But yeah,
Wow.
and that's what leads me into this chair is Brink and I have been friends for quite a long time now, and it's been kittens and rainbows ever since.
Oh yeah, it's been wonderful. So a little bit of backstory from my end. Wayne is, I wouldn't call you special, but we'll call you special on camera.
That. Thank you.
A special person for me. He's the first guy who let me pull out my phone and try to make a video for his business. And it was god awful, and I never wanted to see the light of day. I think it's privated on the YouTube channel right now. I don't think it's public anymore. No, I think it's public because it's on your Facebook too.
Yeah, people can still see it.
Yeah, you can still see it. So if you want to see it, you're welcome to it, but please don't. But a couple weeks ago, over New Year's, was actually able to go back down. We hung out for New Year's, and then I made another video that I'm currently working on that I should have done, but I don't. It looks fantastic, by the way, if that matters to you.
Of course it does.
Yeah, because I did it, not really.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Wayne's first person to let me do that, so I kind of got my start. Not yes and no, but you were the first one to take a chance on me.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that because it felt like nobody wanted to take a chance on me, and you probably didn't want to either, but you did.
Well, I mean, it's just kind of. I have the life of kind of a raccoon. I come out at night. A lot of people don't know what I'm up to. A lot of people don't know what I do. A lot of people don't even know I'm there. And I'm okay with that. I like the exclusiveness, if that's what you want to call it. But I think it was important for me to start at least documenting my process or showing people what the studio life is like.
Yep.
So I didn't really care how it was done, but I knew you had a head full of enthusiasm, and I didn't.
No.
I can't really say no to you at that point. So
I'm gonna find a way to get a yes.
I threw in my Sunday's best and just started piddling.
Yep.
And let you do your thing.
And at that point, this is early on. This is a year before I met you even. And this was like, I still just had my phone. I had the stabilizer for it though, but
All iPhone.
all iPhone, man.
All iPhone.
And I was like trying to do this crazy cool stuff. And like what I've learned now, the cool thing is like the simple stuff is really the most impactful.
Do what's best for the equipment that you have.
Yeah.
And think more creative.
Yeah. And I was trying to do all kinds of wild shit. And like,
Because you see it and you want to do it.
Yeah.
Like you see someone else do something on this like higher budget kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like, oh sweet, I can do that.
yeah. So it came out.
How'd you feel after you did it though?
It's like a rap video.
A rap video.
It was just, it didn't fit.
Yeah.
It was square peg, round hole. It didn't fit.
But again, it was the first thing. And it's like,
Right.
that's so cool though, and that's what we're going to talk about a little bit, I think, is just the process of learning and growing and the creative process itself too. But like, it didn't fit. It wasn't the right thing. It wasn't the right, the energy was too much. And like, that's like last time I was there, I did a lot of shots where I just, either was stationary or I put the camera down and let you move through the frame or let you do the work and let you be the energy to the video and the subject of the video instead of trying to make it about the camera and the this and that. Like, that's the thing. Like,
Well, you were also learning a lot of like post. I think that's
Yes.
kind of why you were shooting the way you were shooting,
Yes.
so that you can in post trying to figure out how they did these certain things.
Yes.
But
yeah, for sure.
But it was kind of just like a do and don't kind of thing. You had to see it to realize what looked bad and what looked good.
Yeah, and the first lot of my videos were that way. I'm sure the same thing with music for you.
Dude, so many songs I like tried to overdo something in my voice, or I tried to do something that I saw someone else do, and I was like, yeah, and then I hear it back and I listen, and I'm like, dude, that doesn't sound anything like my actual voice. Like at some point, I knew what I sounded like. Then I heard other people sing a certain way, and I was like, I want to do that. And right, just the same thing with writing the actual music itself. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, and even with the project that I'm doing now that I started a year and a half ago, like it's crazy just to see how I was showing my girlfriend some like demos the other day that I had started with, and they're super like EDM, everything's like really intense, and like as the projects went on, it's really chilled out a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's more of the kind of the project that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Is a lot more of a chill project.
Aren't you
And
doing kind of a
sometimes-
country music thing right now too?
Yeah.
Is that this new
That's a
project?
side thing.
Okay, that's another thing.
Yeah, so
Jesus.
within my stuff, there's On High, and that's like its own thing.
Yes.
It encompasses a lot of projects within itself, but that's its own personality, it's its own thing. Then there's like so many other projects.
Yeah, side little things.
I just started recording another record of like my old band recently, just like
Oh, really?
to redo some old songs.
Oh, cool, hell yeah.
Just for fun.
That's
And it's
good
a whole
idea.
bunch of stuff, man.
Yeah. Well, before we get any further, we will pay some bills. Once again, thank you to 6 Sense Brewing for allowing us to film here in the brewery. We have a little bit of a different setup today. We decided, because I got some new lights, to backlight us a little bit and turn the overhead lights off. So we'll see how that looks in here on camera. If we hate it, we'll ditch it, and if we like it, we'll keep it. But this is Mercamus Juicimus. This is a double New England IPA. Colby swears we have not had it on the podcast. I still feel like I drank it. Because I feel like talking about it.
Yeah. You love this shit.
But this is actually one of my
I've heard
favorite.
about it before. I
Yeah.
had never drank it before, so I
You're
was
right
really
though about
excited.
Premonition. I think I'm getting Premonition and Mercamus Juicimus mixed up.
Yeah.
So this is Mercamus Juicimus. It's basically we started about a year and 3 months ago or something like that with Merc Juice, and that was our New England style single that's so popular here that we sell a lot of. He did a double version of it and called it Mercamus Juicimus. I have no idea where the name came from. There's Archetti's, yes. I don't know where the name came from, but it's funny, and people always mess it up. They say Juicimus Maximus and all kinds of weird shit. And I'm like, reading, I don't think is that hard, says the homeschooled kid. But Mercamus Juicimus, it's a double New England IPA. It drinks like the single does, about 6.5%, maybe 7%. It doesn't have like a overly alcohol flavor.
It's not harsh at all.
Yeah, you get a good like grapefruit orange kind of pineapple flavor out of it.
Yeah.
But it is 9.3.
I think the hops come
Shit.
out a little bit more in this one. That's the only difference.
You
To
do
me,
get a
taste wise. That's
You
all.
will get a little more hops, but a double means it's double hopped, or either it's either double hopped in the steeping process, or it's double hopped in the dry hopping process. And I think sometimes it can be both. I'm sure Mike will tell me I'm wrong whenever he watches this episode. or Grant or somebody. And quick shout out to Mike and Kelly. Thank you all so much. Good feedback last week.
Dude, that was that last sentence of his Facebook post that he
Yeah.
said. I can't remember the exact words. It was the kindest words I've heard about this podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so
I don't remember
cool.
what I probably should pull it up and read it, but good things to say about it. So thank you guys. We appreciate it as always.
Yeah.
So thanks for being here again, Wayne, Colby.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Cheers.
Thank you.
And thanks 6 Cents and owners for allowing us to be here and use the space. And yeah. Actually, there's going to be a lot more stuff happening in the space here in the near future, I think.
Yeah.
I won't give away too much, but we're going to do... there are several musicians that want to use the space. I used it last week for one of them. There's several musicians that want to be in here and shoot like brewery session music videos in here.
Dude, that's so cool.
Yeah, so I think we're going to start using it for stuff like that. But,
That's what's up.
Which is cool because it is a nice, cool looking space in here. So
Yeah, I'll just start a YouTube channel for that.
there is a YouTube channel for 6 Cents Brewing.
There you go.
And they early on did a lot of like comedy skits to promote stuff in the brewery. That's really how I first found out there was a brewery in Jackson, was video on Facebook. I was like trying to do, at the same time, actually almost exactly the same time I did the video for you is when they started doing videos here. And I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, they're doing stuff. And like,
Just comedy stuff?
yeah, comedy stuff. Like one of the funniest ones was they did a sports trivia
I love that
video.
one. That one's my
dude,
favorite. I love that.
And Jennifer,
'Cause it's
the owner
with
next,
rowdies.
yeah, Jennifer next door, one of the owners, is like in like a cheerleading skirt and there's like pigtails, and she's like, "Yeah, baby, go!" And Jamie's got like these high shorts and like a headband, and he's like dribbling like all hard and like missing baskets and shit. And then the owner of Rowdy's, Nathan, comes in and is like smacks the ball out of the air and he's trying to do a layup.
He comes out of nowhere, and I was like, man, I didn't see that coming at all.
It's so funny, dude. And then they're like, let's see, brisket doesn't go on a burger or something like that.
They
And he's
just
like,
talk shit
like
to
my
each other.
burgers are bigger than yours. And it's like, your potatoes suck. And like they're like
Oh, I've got a potato.
Yeah,
like,
they're just like talking shit, dude. And then Kelsey, who is a bartender here and was one of the few bartenders in the beginning, comes in as the rap. She's like, whoa, like the topic this week for trivia is sports trivia. And then everyone's like, yeah, like all right. And there's a couple of like funny, stupid layup moments where they miss him and shit. And at the end, it cuts to a clip of Mike sitting in the driver's side of the 6 Cents van, and then Nathan, the guy from Rowdy's, is next door, and the camera pushes in, and Mike says, "I really wish you were my brother-in-law, not Jamie."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it like fades to black, and it was like really well done. It was hilarious. I shared it recently when we started trivia again. And
Yeah,
was
I
like,
saw. That's the first time I had
that
seen
was
it.
really well done. They did that stuff before with Jules and Kelsey were the ones that did it before.
Yeah.
And Jules is Jules next week? Jules is next week, right?
No.
No.
Next week's Tyler Tackett.
Okay.
2 weeks from now, the
then Jules?
29th.
Okay. All
The
right, cool.
22nd, I can't remember off the top of my head, but the next week is Tyler Tackett with Ohio Fines.
Okay, cool.
And then the week after that would be,
That'd be-
that would be Jules.
That'd be Jules.
So yeah,
That's the
29th.
weekend we were going to film that short film, and that's now pushed back to March, so that's good
Okay,
anyways.
cool.
Which, news to you. Anyways, Wayne,
Now I know.
I would like to hear you talk about kind of either the beginning and how you got started in what you're doing now and the creative process that you've gone through in developing.
Jesus.
That's a huge story.
remember
Break that up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, remember the stuff that you really wanted to get into a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago that we really didn't have time for in that video? That's what I want to get into here because I want to hear your thoughts. And I want to, I'll give a little bit of backstory just to keep loosening things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Wayne and I almost got in a fist fight, I think the first or second time I met him. Second time. Because I was coaching and I was in athletics and I'm a golfer. And he was like, anybody can do golf and gymnastics isn't a sport. And I was like, anybody can do art. Because at the time I had like no respect for art.
I mean, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've proven that. Anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Maybe not well.
Yeah.
But I can do it. But yeah, we almost got in a fist fight there. More recently, you jumped across the table and tried to kill me at New Year's 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago.
Well, that's this past year. So
Seems like yesterday.
A little.
Sometimes I still do.
So there's a very it's all love really, but sometimes
I've got friends like that.
Tough love.
sometimes there's just a little bit of button pushing and
Yeah.
and I
But
go
it's
too far with it too.
some
But
weird dynamic or some strange way we always just.
he's just jealous, is all it is.
I think there's something deep down that I can't
What it is.
define.
You're just envious.
Yeah.
So just for like the viewer, what kind of art do you do now?
Currently I do sculpture.
Okay.
So
And what is the medium for that?
So is wood actually, and it varies from different species to species. But I really don't have a set species when I go into constructing my pieces. But I do always try to keep it attractive. I think that's the very first thing is, does it look attractive?
Yeah.
But as far as like from the beginning process of how I do what I do is I sit down, I think of a form, and generally I'll give you my secret here.
Oh God.
Is that I usually draw the human figure and I'll draw it over and over until I find an attractive shape. I'll draw a female or a male, and then I'll draw macro shots or close up or certain positions.
Yep.
And I'll take that, and I didn't even bring, my sketchbook. But that would have been
That would have been dope.
But
We'll insert it here.
yeah. Can we get a zoom in? And then I'll start drawing the shape, and I'll define it and work it and redraw it, and it just by the end my page is completely full of just this form, and usually at the end of a wine bottle too, to where I'm trying to really explore. I'm trying to really explore shapes, and I think the first question is it attractive?
Yeah.
And then from there, starting to construct, I use an old method. It's a boat making method, which is a stitch and glue, which basically you'll cut the form out of a really good quality plywood, which is probably no thicker than 3/16 thick. And I'll cut the shape out, and I'll start bending it to where I can just really maximize the shape's form. And usually it's the wood that dictates the form at the end of the day. But
you might have an idea for it, but that wood might not want to do that.
It'll
at
say
all.
no.
Absolutely not.
So it really dictates what it actually looks like. And then from there, once the form dries, it usually has 2-3 different sides. And a lot of my work is in the round. Like I would prefer that you walk around it.
Yes.
And it's very large. I think my smallest piece that I'm working on right now is about 4 feet tall, 2 feet wide.
Wow.
So I really want the shape to really consume you. That way you're not really concerned about what's going on. It's just you and the experience that it portrays. But
and I know, like when I've been in your gallery and stuff many times, seen a lot of your work.
Mm-hmm.
And I know one in particular pops into head. It was a very small square piece that, depending on the angle that you looked at it, it took on different shapes. And
Right.
it took on, like, it was so complex. It was so simple looking when you first looked at it, but then so complex as you went around it to see from this angle it looks like this, from this angle it looks like that, and then there were different layers and details, and that's something that I admire. And even the piece you're putting together that I recorded a couple weeks ago is so complex and so many different pieces and different little details and stuff, and that just the bow ties that you put in.
Yep.
That process that I got to record is just so detailed that people don't really get to see that normally.
No, I usually don't let people see that.
Yeah.
Just because
I'm privileged, motherfuckers.
that's kind of like the secret sauce,
It's your-
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just like I've, a lot of people are like, "What's your finish?" or, "How do you do this?" And I'm like, I'm not giving that to you. I prefer to keep that to me, and because that's a lot of work, and it wasn't given to me. I'm not going to give it to you.
Yeah.
So, but like right now, so once the form is done, I can only lay one strip per day. So when the form is actually done, depending on and I always have the vision of what it's going to look like when it's done. So that'll tell me how I can actually attach this strip. It's a strip of veneer wood.
Yeah.
It's a thin piece, right? So I'll line the form that way, and I'll either screw it, brad nail it, epoxy it, or clamp it in some sort of way. But at the end of the day, when you actually look at that sculpture, I don't want you to know how I did that. So,
Yes.
So you won't know.
Yep.
But right now, I can only lay one strip a day because the future strip relies on the stability of the previous strip.
Okay.
So I can't go in and just strip everything out.
Does it have to sit?
Right, and it has to sit 24 hours. So
And then what's the average kind of start to finish of inception sketch to maybe not even delivery of a product, but maybe or a piece, but like close to finish or finding the finish? Because I know you said that when I left you after New Year's that you needed to present samples of the finish to the customer,
Right.
Or the client, or whatever, semantics. Anyways, for approval before it was even finished.
Right.
So what's the total, like, maybe that piece in particular, what's going to be the total timeline of that? Because
So yeah, good question. So the tables the fastest table I've ever made was for a person in Nashville. Weirdly enough, he was British, but he was like, "How quick can you make one?" And I was like, "How much money do you have?" And I was just like, "If you want this expedited, you're gonna have to pay X amount of dollars." So we built the table in 3 days.
Oh, wow.
So
I should have told the people last weekend that.
Yeah.
We're done. Oh, here, you're going to give me triple the amount you were going to give me before.
So it's usually about 20% added to the amount
Well,
quoted.
then you have to prioritize that.
Yeah.
Outside of other
And
things,
stop
outside of not
everything
only
that
your
I'm
own
doing.
work,
Right.
but outside of everything else in your life, you
Right.
have to prioritize that piece. So I mean, it makes sense that you have to charge more money for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and usually, like, if you stop, it's the hardest thing, and I still have difficulty. Like, when I'm doing my own work and my own experimentations and things like that, I don't want any interference.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I have shit to do, but I'd rather just work on my own stuff. That's what winter's for me.
Yes.
I like the fact that commissions slow down in the winter because I can take all the scrap from throughout the year and just really just hash shit out, like, and figure things out. And that's part of what keeps me going is, like, I can experiment in the winter while no one's telling me what to do.
Yeah.
Usually throughout the year, especially in July, people are telling me what to do the entire week.
What they want, how they want it done, all that stuff.
Right. So to answer your question, it usually takes about 4 to 6 weeks is usually what I tell customers.
But it's like, and I have not seen anything start to finish of yours.
Yeah.
And I'd love to do something like that, but it's so cool. And like, I guess parallels for you would be
Oh, dude, everything
songwriting.
I'm hearing of this relates entirely to how I make my music.
Yeah,
Sure.
songwriting,
It's
all
just-
that. And you don't want people to know all the inner workings of it because it is your own process and your own thing that works for you that
Right.
you know how to get from A to B and what you want to do.
Yeah.
And same thing with me is I didn't have a process when I made the first video for you. I didn't even really have a process until honestly about 6 months ago when I figured out how I want to get the video shot that I want to shoot. Like I had a plan going into the video shoot for you. I had a plan last weekend for the video shoot with Devin Hale, and like I have a process now. I know what I want. I have a process for the podcast. I know what I want. That's in doing, in the action. And then I guess that's another question I want to ask for people to know is how did you even get started on this? 'Cause this was not the plan.
Especially with a name like Wayne Stump, people were like, "Oh, you're in woodworking. Your last name's Stump." I'm like, fuck me.
Oh.
Yeah.
You could have been in Fallout Boy.
Yeah, I really wish. Yeah, I don't know if there's a such thing as fate or destiny, but so my first degree is in graphic design, and I was working for a company right out of college that just like wasn't for me. It was graphic designers. You think of like casual, just elbows on the table, kind of just we don't really care as long as we just get to do what we need to do or have to do in a casual manner. But I was working a corporate graphic design job at the time, and I had a cubicle. There was absolutely no inspiration. It might as well have been a prison cell because it was all gray. There were no windows. I had to wear a tie, and my clothes.
Fuck that.
Yeah,
fuck
it was
that,
just
fuck
like-
that again.
So you saw this, or you got your degree,
Yeah.
and then you applied it, and it wasn't what.
No,
in any
not
way,
at all.
shape, or
And
form
I
you
feel
were
like
thinking it was
everybody lied to me. Like
Yes.
you're gonna get a job
Yes.
right out of college. It's gonna be awesome.
be
You're gonna make
great.
so much money.
You're gonna work
yeah,
for the
that's,
man.
That's
That just sounds
bullshit.
like
Yeah.
Never mind.
Total bullshit. What'd you say?
It just the way he said that sounded like our just like an exact representation of somebody that everybody knows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
absolutely. And that's kind of why I'm a professor now. It's just like I'd rather not lie to you. If your shit sucks, I'm gonna tell you. And if you don't have it, then perhaps it's time to consider alternative.
Yeah.
Dude, the best producer I ever worked with was literally from day one. He would kind of find your comfort zone in the first like 20 minutes of speaking to you. And then from there on, he was like, yeah, that sounds like someone shoved a hot dog up a dog's ass. And you're just like, okay. And then you just keep singing. And then it'd be like, dude, that sounds exactly like I just rubbed your asshole on the ground and then made you lick it up.
You wanna throw out a name here? I feel like
No, Nick Ingram, dude, from Capitol House Records.
This guy needs a shout out right now.
Dude, he is in terms of making me a better singer and challenging me more, he was the best dude to ever go to. And his production quality is unmatched. And I've watched the dude go from being a teenager with long hair down to here, working his ass off in his parents' garage, to being a dude who literally buys anything he wants to, has a house, has a nice ass studio, has everything that he wants, and it's just great to see that. So anyway, back to what we were saying, just like the challenge of taking your students or whoever you have to tell them exactly how it is. You have to figure out what they're capable of, and just say, do it.
Do more.
Or that
to go
shit, because I know you're better than that.
beyond that, what you think you're capable of and what you're comfortable with.
Right.
Like, I mean, last week I had to direct people last week. Because I had that meeting last Tuesday and I was a little hyped about that. Well, then I actually got into the dirt and had to actually work with this company and do stuff. And the images and the audio are fantastic because I got that unlocked. But now there's a new challenge that's presented itself to me. I have to direct emotion and body language and speech of people. And I immediately was like, oh shit, I wasn't ready for this.
It's a different realm.
Yeah, and these are people that don't want to be on camera. They don't want to be talking. They don't feel attractive in front of the camera, which factors into it, all that stuff.
It's like, where do you put my hands?
Yeah. What do I do with my... No, but they even did that though. Like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, just... How would you normally sit if you were talking to me or to you or whatever? Like, and I was like, look, the microphone's your friend. Look at the microphone, talk to the microphone, that's your friend. Like, that's, and just to have a conversation like you're telling me what you do. And like, it's still, even with my best effort, came out pretty flat on the performance part. And it's not really a slight on them. These people aren't, that's not their thing. They're not actors. They haven't been coached. And one 20-minute coaching session did not get them there. Y'all are really looking at Argenti's hard right now.
I just like to see who's coming in and out. I see all my friends.
It's weird.
Like, oh, hey.
Yeah, we need to black that window out.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, see, I'm glad
I'm just like,
you're the only other guest.
I didn't know people can do that.
There was someone
Are
else,
they sitting right there, or are they just
No,
walking
they're just
out?
walking
walk
out.
in and out, and they hold the door forever, and then you're like,
And
I
they
know
probably
that
look
person.
at you too.
They do stare at you
because
every
you're the
once
most
in a while
visible.
because it's like your face is right there.
Yeah, you're the most visible out of all of them. So,
Yeah.
anyways, I don't remember at all where we were. Oh, you talking about it being terrible coming out of college, working in a inspiration.
Right. Yeah. Jesus, I forgot already.
Dude, I got us way off track. I apologize.
That was a good segue, though.
I can bring it back. Don't worry.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's a funny story. I took a call in the middle of one of the most busiest times, and it was our friend Max. I took a call,
shout out to Max.
and we always like kind of. I lived through him because he was going through grad school at the time, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Dude, we just got done playing cornhole. What are you doing?" I'm like, "In this fucking office." And he was like, "Dude," and I swear to God, word for word, he said, "Just quit, come here, get a job, apply to grad school, you'll get a free ride, and you just be our roommate." I'm like, that sounds great and all, but I've never won anything in my life. Even a scratch off or anything like that. But so of course, like, rock bottom hit. I hated my job, so I just cruised the internet, looked up the requirements for grad school, and I just started utilizing all of my sources there: the printer, the plotter, foam boards. I just started stealing shit, and I just used it all. And I made my portfolio. I even used their account to ship it overnight.
I didn't know. That's awesome.
And then, so, and at that same time, so I needed to apply for just a temporary job in Huntington. So I applied for a web designer.
You were where at that point in time?
I was in Virginia at the time.
Sorry.
And I applied for the web designer job at the Alumni Association, which are beloved friend Nancy worked there, so I had an in, and I ended up getting it. And so right then and there, I knew I could quit. I already applied, so that's pending, and I could move in with Max and work there, get a little bit of money, and then all eggs in this basket once again, and I ended up getting a free ride.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, that's so crazy, and like I don't even know if Max watches this stuff. All I get from Max anymore is he keeps sharing like funny motherfucker last week sends me like this funny meme on Instagram. I'm like, I don't follow the account, it's private, I can't see it.
You can't even see it.
And he's like,
That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, you gotta stop following all these models and photographers, this unattainable bullshit, get some more laughs in your life.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, I was like, Max, I'm out here trying to make it, dude. I'm sorry. But like Max has been that person for so many people. Like, he's done that to me, dude.
Yeah.
And Petey did that for me once, too. Petey was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm out here. I was in Michigan. I lost a job, and I was looking for another one. Mm-hmm. And Petey called me, and I was like, I'm applying for jobs. He's like, why don't you just come down here? It's like, come back to Huntington. And I was like, fuck it. And it was like, that was like 3 p.m. Mm-hmm. And I packed up all my shit in the car and left at 5 p.m. from Detroit. And then drove all the way back to Huntington and got in late. And then that was like the next step of my life. That was... I think you were in Ashland at the time. I think when I came back.
We just made the switch.
Yeah.
You left, or you came, I left.
Yeah, but like I think it's so incredibly interesting to look back and to see those dots and those people that are so influential. That I mean, Max and I similarly and Max has said something about it. I posted something on Facebook. It was that stupid how hard does aging hit you challenge. And like literally, I have a photo
Jesus.
I have a photo in my like profile pictures where I was like hammered drunk on Smirnoff Ice, and this girl had literally punched me in the eye that night. And I had a black
that
eye.
picture? That's hilarious.
So
Smirnoff
my
Ice.
caption was how hard has aging hit me? Not nearly as hard as those Smirnoff Ices and Whitney did that night.
Yeah.
But then Max commented on it and was like. It was like IT 101 and Mariah. Ew. And like, cause freshman year, Max hated me.
Yeah. You guys took a class together.
Yeah. 8 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Jesus.
IT 101, and he hated me because he was like, he had his girlfriend. He was all angsty and like kind of emo.
Oh
back
yeah.
then.
He was very
angsty and emo. And I was like just bubbly, blah 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 blah, talking to girls in class and whatever. I was excited to be in college, and he was not. I mean, he was, but like not really. He hated the 8 a.m.
He had a
class.
girlfriend that kept him strapped.
Yeah, he had a girlfriend too. Anyways, like it's so interesting and so important to look back on what you've got. We've always said, not what you've got, what's happened to you that's gotten to you to where you are, those dots connecting. Because without Max, that conversation with you and like, yo, quit your job, you might have stayed there. And your life could have been drastically
Isn't it
different.
crazy how you can literally, I think everybody here in this group has had that job where they're like literally bored out of their mind and they know it's not progressing anywhere.
Right.
And it may progress down the pathway for that, but there's nothing that is going to ever make you happy down that pathway. Mm-hmm. And it takes, a lot of times it takes someone else to like snap their fingers and say, dude, what are you even doing? Like, I know you better than you're acting right now, and you're not acting like yourself, dude. Get your shit together, get back on the right track, and just do it, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I had somebody tell me Sunday after we talked, one of the guys that was in here was like, why don't you tell him to go get a job over at blah, 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 blah. And I was like, dude, I know Colby better than you do. That job is soul crushing. I couldn't do that job, and it would crush Colby's soul even more. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
He was like, who needs a soul anyways? And I was like, hold on a second. We all know that you don't have a fucking soul.
Yeah.
So your opinion doesn't really matter. I was like, I've got a plan to help try and take care of Colby and get him where he needs to be. Like, not going over to company X, Y, and Z to go get a job, because that's not going to work. And, anyways, I think it's really interesting, and I shout out to Max if you ever watch this. Like, you got to be that person for somebody, especially when it happens to you. You've got to be a person for somebody else too. I think it's really important to remember. So then, what happened after the move into grad school that got you to where you are now? Where's the next dot?
So in grad school, you have a critique by your instructors every 3 months. Just to make sure, because you can get kicked out of grad school if you're not like doing the work.
Yes.
Or if you get a C or less, you can get kicked out.
Oh wow.
So the first critique, I didn't sleep. I was already like into the flow of things, and I mean, I knew like I had good work ethic. Like and I did all graphic design shit. I created my own website. I did it all through code because, Wix or all that shit didn't exist. So
Right.
I made all that stuff by hand or code. And then I made a fake company, which was like designer t-shirts. And then I did my own photography. I covered all of my bases. And I mean, at Marshall, you can print off large scale, small scale stuff. And so I did that, and I bombed this classroom just full of work, and so I was laying it all out there, just like, here's my stuff, please be gentle, and
That's
all
a
of
hard
them.
place to be.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like people don't do that enough. Just lay your shit out there and just open yourself up.
They're too scared to be
Yeah,
vulnerable.
and I mean,
really-
like that's something you have to do.
Yep.
And all of them unanimously said, like, you are too comfortable with doing graphic design. You need to try something else.
Wow.
And I was like, that was a total head scratcher. I was like, what the hell do I do?
But I'm good at it. Why can't I just do what I'm good at, right?
Yeah, or like, or I mean, like, how far can you really take the exploration of graphic design digitally? It's like you just make different shit each time, and it's like, well, it's pixels, right? So I can put this here and be totally comfortable with it. If I don't like it, I can center or left flush. So I mean, like, I'm in control a little bit, but really,
the technique really, I'm sure that it doesn't, compared to what you're doing now, sorry for cutting in, but compared to what you're doing now, the technique, you're not able to have that complete control
Right.
that you can have now.
Right.
In a completely different way.
and I had to let go of that. I was too comfortable with all of that, and so right then and there, for the second time in my life, I had to pretty much forget everything that I was taught and try to do something completely different. And I picked up a magazine at one of my professor's studios, and I was just like, this shit is pretty cool. How do you do this? And
that's how it happens,
that
ladies
was
and
just
gentlemen.
that simple. Like, I was like, this looks cool. Show me how to do this.
Yeah.
And it turned out like, and I was good with my hands, but not really like, I've never touched a table saw or knew what it was.
I was going to say, did you know carpentry
No,
beforehand?
nothing
So,
like that. And I'm
that's
not
cool.
even traditional. I refuse to be called a carpenter because that kind of disrespects carpentry in a way,
Yeah.
because I'm not traditionally trained
Right.
in any of that stuff. But what a Dremel was, what a bandsaw was, what a joiner was, or let alone the actual process, or what species were, or the certain different densities, or the characteristics, or anything. So I knew what I wanted to do because I can sketch. I knew I envisioned what I wanted because I have a fucking imagination, but I didn't know how to get there.
Yeah.
So I utilized my sources. The shop tech, Anthony Smith, was super talented. He always told me, like, well, this is how you properly mill a piece of wood. This is how, and I would show him certain techniques, and he was like, I think this is your best approach. And I sucked in as much information as I could. And
Be a
knowing
sponge,
all of
man.
that now, I changed my last name to Stump.
Yeah, right.
No, I didn't.
You were cursed with that from the
I
get-go.
was.
I think that, like, listening to that, what pops in my head is, I fully believe, I've said it before, everything in life is a learned skill. You can learn to do anything. Like, you're not going to change your genetic code and all that stuff, but everything else, you can learn. You might not know how to use a bandsaw or a joiner or blah, 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 what it is. Like, I didn't know how to use any of the software I use now. I didn't know how to use any of the software. I didn't know how to use a camera. I don't know how to make music. I'm sure I can learn it.
I could, yeah.
I probably won't be as good as you, because
Right.
you should be ahead of me in the process, and I should always be
Always.
playing catch up. But like, I can still learn it, same as you. I could make, and that was my point when I said anybody can do art. was not that
One drunken night in the kitchen.
not that it's not. And at that time, really, I was trying to discredit it. But now, like, looking back, I shouldn't have done it that way. But like, anybody can learn to do that, and it's possible. Anybody can learn to do a lot of physical activities. You're gonna have limitations and stuff, but like, you can
Right.
learn to do anything.
You ever just look back, like what you were saying, at your own beliefs, which were that anybody could be an artist, but in a different way than how you're saying it now.
Yeah.
and just want to kick your own ass and just be
I
like,
was an asshole.
just be
I was
like,
totally
but isn't
being
it
an
crazy? In
antagonist
10
for
years
you.
from now, you're going to probably look back at what you're doing and find some critique for that and think the same exact thing.
Your eye is always going to change and develop.
That's why
and get
sometimes,
better.
like with the artistic process in general, sometimes it's good that it only takes, or that you have to wait 24 hours for that to go, because then in that time you may come right back to that piece and have a whole new way of approaching something. I mean, sometimes I have a straight vision of my song, and there is nothing that's going to stop me from going from point A to point B except time. It's just going to slow me down. There's so many other times where I make, a lot of times when I start with a drum beat, and then it goes into my chord progression, and then from there, the song structure and everything kind of just comes out from there. But there are times when I write something and I'm like, this is gorgeous and I love it and I know what I want to do with it, but there's no vocal melody or a lyrical approach to this that I have in mind yet.
Right.
It might get there, but I'm just going to push this to the side and come back to it later.
Exactly.
And sometimes time is the best thing for a piece. I mean, some things just have to age.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I mean, that's exactly why I still have all of my work from art school.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of that's like, what the fuck was I thinking? A lot of it now is just, I mean, and the eye will always age and, you know, get those experiences that you need. So I think that's important.
Plus, you don't know what you're going to see that will inspire you in a different way than you've ever been inspired before.
That's
You guys ever watch a movie?
About time, I think that like the thing that helps with time a lot of times is you'll see something new that you didn't notice before.
Right.
Just like now, like if I watch a movie now, there's so many different things I catch in movies now that I never thought of before. Just like you had me watch, what was it, 13 Hours?
Yep.
The Making of 13 Hours.
Yep.
And I think I mentioned it on
You
here before.
talked about it about 3
about
weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago.
I understood everything they were talking about, and I would not have understood that a year ago.
Yeah.
And I understood almost even before they were telling what they did and why they did it, what was going to happen, because I'd already seen. They'd show like the clip of the movie, and then show like, oh, well, this is what we did, blah blah blah, and then like in certain instances, and I could like predict what it was because I have an eye for it now because I've seen so many different things now that I realize, oh, they use this for that, and blah 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 blah. There's like I got contacted to do. There's a large. There's a semi-large budget movie being filmed in the area right now, and they contacted me yesterday morning asking me to film a drone clip for them.
Oh, dude, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
no,
cool.
it was just for test purposes though. They just, but like just because of all the things they sent me, like it was the end of Good Will Hunting. There's a car driving down the road, and there's like a follow. It had to have been a follow car with probably a crane and a gimbal on it because they didn't have drones back then. It's not the way they have now, but they wanted that same kind of a shot. Or something similar at least, and they wanted just to test and see what it looked like. And I was like, well, you know, knowing what I know now, I asked a bunch of questions like, okay, well, you know, first of all, my drone has a limitation of 45 miles an hour. Second of all, like, you know, blah, 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 do you want this? Is there a certain stretch of road you want? Do you want sunrise or sunset? Do you want me shooting into the sun?
See, but you also knew to say all this stuff.
Yeah.
Which is really important.
Which comes with experience.
Yeah, but I've learned that over the time with experience of seeing all these things and knowing, oh, I need to ask this question for that.
Yeah.
But and then they ended up saying, hey, we're going to wait on that for a little bit, but you know, hopefully it comes to me, and I'm going to be prepared for it. And that's actually, they said, we trust your experience, and my response was, well, you shouldn't, because they're from Hollywood. Like it was, you shouldn't, I've never done anything exactly like this before, but I will make it work and I'll make it happen.
Yeah.
And that's something that, like, you know, I think we all can resonate with is you might not have known how to make that piece the first time you made it or that song or whatever, but like you're going to find a way to make it work and you're going to problem solve and you're going to get it done.
Yeah.
And that's been one of the cool things to watch for you. I don't necessarily know that you're problem solving, but like I've seen so many vastly different pieces come out of your studio and all the stuff you've done, and even your music. And I was trying to categorize your music to Wayne earlier off camera. Like, I was like, well, it's not
He
really
called
that.
me a white rapper. I'm not a white rapper.
It's more EDM, hip hop, fusion. I'm sorry.
I just call it indie pop because it's different and it's still pop music no matter what I do. So
yeah, it really is. But anyways, like problem solving and coming up with something that's going to work is so important, and I think that also comes with experience and comes with time. So then, did it go straight from the grad school and like, hey, teach me how to do this, straight into the Stump Standards, or how did Stump Standards come about, and what's kind of the backstory behind that? Whatever you can share, or will share, whatever.
Yeah. So I got fired a lot.
Retweet.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all just like, yep.
So right then and there, I knew I wanted to work for myself.
Dude, I had the same conversation with the guy that was telling me to make you work. I was like, I cannot be a cog in a machine. I can't.
Yeah, or show up at 8 o'clock every day. It's like, no.
I did that for like 3 or 4 years,
Yeah.
man, and it just weighs on you, dude.
Yeah.
You feel old when you're done with it.
Or like, I mean, my commute after college, my commute to that Virginia job, it was like an hour.
Yeah, screw that.
And you're spending an
And I
hour
did
in the
that
car, and
every day.
what are you doing with your time during that time? You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
my thing. It's
Yeah.
hard to find time, something
Yeah.
to do that's productive.
You can't multitask other than absorb information.
Then you lose 2 hours a day. You're
Yeah.
losing 2 hours a day.
Yeah, and I mean, what if I wanted to like work longer hours, especially when I'm in a groove and I want to get this done, or it's not necessarily get it done, but I really enjoy this project and I want to continue and go all night. I can't do that.
Because you have to be up the next morning.
Right, exactly.
Dude, I went from
That
like
sucks.
literally going, I would spend every night just up the first 2 hours messing around with guitar tones, then spend like an hour maybe putting together like kind of a couple riffs or whatever, and spending the whole night just putting together a 30-second clip so that by the next morning, whenever I was ready to go to bed and done with whatever I had, the idea that was in my head was done and I could go to bed comfortably. 'Cause
Right.
that's a hard thing. It's like you get an idea in your head that you want to do or something you want to finish. And
Right.
you know if you go to bed, it's
Or you
going
have
to
a
be like
deadline for a
middle.
major corporation. You have to stay up from 12 a.m. until 7 a.m. and then shower and go deliver the project, and they still want revisions.
Yeah, multiple.
Yeah, dude, I had like, we haven't talked about that. I had that, well, shit. The experiences. Yeah. It's like a damn grandpa.
It's not
in
like
here.
Batman was about to walk in here, dude.
Now, some of the experiences I've like listened to you on the phone with clients, I have that kind of same like little bit happen to me this last week, and they're like,
Yeah.
But I got it all done anyways. But going to sleep, getting up early the next day is difficult as hell when you got something stuck in your head you want to get done.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a song stuck in your head. It's just like you got to get it out. You got to, exhaust your,
Yeah.
you know.
And you do that at times, correct?
Yeah, I have to. I need to, and I love to.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm sure Casey loves that.
well, she met me in grad school, so she knows what
Yeah,
comes with
that's
the
true.
package.
That's true.
And I told her, I was like,
If she knew what she was getting into.
well, in grad school, I was just like, I work long hours. If you can't handle that, this isn't gonna work.
Dude, that's the hardest thing to
86
explain to like a significant other in some ways. Just to say, hey, there are times when I'm going to completely ignore you. Stare at my computer for about 12 hours.
So, Chris,
and
how
you're
do you
just
feel
gonna
about
have
this?
to deal with it like that. And that's the thing. She sat in my room before when I had an 8-hour loop of the same, literally the same
She's shaking her
40-second
head off
hard on
camera.
for 8 hours, and she's had to just deal with it. And that song didn't get written for another month. So I mean, there are just there's just times when with someone you have to just say, look, you have to understand how this process works. I will prioritize my time for you, but not during that time.
I think human nature is cyclical. I think there's an ebb and a flow to everything. Straight back. Oh, I forgot you got the little bladder. Oh, I'm gonna tell.
Let's talk shit now.
I'm gonna tell all the stories now. Anyways, to finish that thought real quick while you guys can pee. I think human nature is cyclical. I think that like there's an ebb and a flow to everything. And I think that when you're in that corporate grind, you're not allowed to do that. It goes against a lot of human nature. It goes against a lot of things that we want to naturally do, and especially in the creative world. Now that he's in the bathroom, I went to Miami, Florida. This motherfucker called me and said, hey, I need a favor, right?
Oh yeah, this is a couple months ago,
Yeah,
right?
this is September or October.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And he's like, something happened, blah, blah, blah. I can't get this piece shipped to Miami, Florida, but it has to be there by Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday, I believe. Wednesday morning. So his big plan was get me, because I'm the fucking sucker, to go with him, and get a U-Haul, put this motherfucker in a truck, drive it all the way down to Miami, Florida from Portsmouth, all at 16 hours, he says. It took, we were in the
Drive
truck.
time.
Yeah. It took 24 plus, probably, at least.
It
total
sucked.
time. It was bad.
Yeah, we were feeling pretty raw
Yeah,
when
it
we
was
got
bad.
there.
I think we delivered the piece at like 8 a.m. the next
Yeah.
day.
Nonstop.
And then partied for a while, and then barely got to our flight in time, and then got home, and Wayne puked on the side of the road on the way home.
I did.
It happens.
But the whole thing was, we're like a mile away. This is what I'm going to call you out. We're like a mile away from the bathroom, and he
Where are we?
driving south,
Oh, okay.
like a mile away from the next stop, and he can't hold it. Can't hold it at all. Didn't
From the
pee
next stop?
Didn't pee himself, but couldn't
No,
hold it.
I have way too much pride for that.
Yeah,
I peed in a bottle
peed in a bottle.
while driving.
Yeah.
It works.
While driving, both times.
It needs to be a Gatorade though.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I forgot the little. I forgot about the little bladder.
It can't be a Pepsi bottle.
Yeah, give me a Pepsi bottle.
Respect
Jesus.
yourself.
Yeah.
Well, where do we go from here? Jesus Lord. I don't know. So, what did happen though? You said we were talking about long hours and all that.
Yeah.
But what did happen that got from just grad school over to you actually founding Stump Standards and then starting? It's been what, five years now?
Yeah.
So where's the transition there? How did we get from A to B in that situation?
So I worked for a lumber mill doing I've never built a table before in my life.
Yeah.
If anything, I really learned how not to make a table for about 3 months. So
By working
just
for that company.
just completely fucking up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had
Important.
That's the best. That is the best part of the learning
Can
process.
we remember that? That needs to be a topic.
fucking up.
Yeah, fucking up. And
Yeah.
just fucking up over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, it
until
really
you figure out how to
defines.
Stop doing it.
Oh yeah, I mean, yesterday was hell for me because I fucked up 8 times, and I just
I
I
saw
went
those.
home, ate dinner, and then I went back
wow.
just to finish it, or just to see if I could do it right, and I ended up doing it right, thankfully. Otherwise, I wouldn't have slept yesterday. But so I worked for a lumber mill. I was doing tables for their trade shows, and then once that was done, I needed somewhere to go. And so I went across the river, which was Portsmouth, and looked at some downtown real estate. And on 5th Street, there was a vacant building. It used to be an accounting firm, just an open space. There was a wall initially in the building, but day 2, we took that wall down and we painted the green walls white. I turned it into a gallery. And then a couple days later, I painted the exterior white, signed the side of the building. I pissed a bunch of people off when I did that because it's a historic building. But even to make matters
That's
worse.
funny because next week the dude that's coming in is all about preservation of history. So that's just no. I mean, this is the ebb and flow of
Yeah.
the podcast. So
Yeah. So I bought the building, I established Stump Standards there, and I kept the doors locked because weirdos kept coming in. And we have clients from that building. We've had probably hundreds of clients that are national or if not worldwide, and we do it all right from Portsmouth.
Yeah, right. All right there.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And there aren't that many people that know that. I don't feel
No.
like.
no, not
It's
at all.
largely
I didn't
unknown.
realize it was a thing until Matt.
Yeah,
told me
I think
about
it's
it.
more. It's definitely more known in Portsmouth because that's where you are. But like anywhere around, I'll say something about like the only person who knew who you were. I think when I mentioned your name was not even Luke. I don't
Right.
think Luke knew
I don't
until
think
I
Luke did
mentioned you
either.
several times. I think Mark Nelson knew who you were
Yeah.
from Instagram. That was it.
Yep.
But the Instagram thing, did the Instagram thing spark from me? You'd already been doing Instagram, but didn't like the Instagram thing like double up after that first? Like you started doing more on Instagram and stuff after that first time I came to make the video. wasn't it?
Yeah, I just I usually relied on my team to do the social media because I just don't need another thing added to my plate. But once I kind of took it over and I picked your brain about what time to post, what hashtags to use, it really became like a fun game.
Yeah.
It
is a fun
really,
game.
dude. It is. It is.
Yeah.
Marketing in general is so much fun.
It's
Like,
so tedious though. It's like a nagging bitch sometimes, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
I
just
need to
like
post something
you've
right
got
now
to
to
do it
have it
right.
Sorry, Jamie.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's a certain finesse about social media that you have to, and it's kind of interesting after a couple of years of doing it, and you can check your stats.
Yeah.
It's like which ones had the highest hits.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's explore this a little bit more.
What,
and-
what am I doing right? What am I
Right.
doing wrong? Who's
Right.
looking at this stuff? I
Exactly.
think that's the most interesting thing is seeing
Yeah.
who's looking at whatever I'm posting and then thinking about what they want to see.
Yeah.
And you can tell just based on whatever you're posting. I mean, you can really tell.
Yeah.
People like my dogs.
Yeah. They connect well.
As much shit as I get from my dogs, people like my dogs.
People
on
don't
social
like
media.
my music. They just want to see a picture of me standing in
They
front
wanna
of
see your
something
face.
stupid.
Yeah,
Like
they wanna see
it
your face.
pisses me off so bad.
Yeah.
Do you know how much it pisses me off to be a musician? And like I post music and like people enjoy it. They do.
Yeah.
But then I can post a picture. Like I can post a 30-second clip of a song I've worked on for like 6 months or something like that, and put a lot of time into. I can post that and like
Nothing.
few people check it out. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, thumbs up. And then I can post a picture and that someone
God.
else took
Yeah.
of me just going like, and people are like, oh yeah, like,
Yeah.
and I was like, dude, come on, just don't. I don't even care, dude. Like, don't take pictures of me anymore. Just listen to my music, and it's like, it is what it is.
The highest like that I've had, I've had really lavish photos taken of downtown New York or lower Manhattan photos, and the one that got the most likes was a shot of me using a tool in my shop.
But it's one of the
That should make you feel good,
Yeah, but
though.
honestly,
that's at
though,
least something that you do.
It's kind of like that's the most frustrating
Probably
thing.
the
because-
same idea that
I'm just like, I worked my ass off for this end product, and you guys aren't
Yeah.
jiving with it.
People
Like,
love the process, and also people follow an account to follow you.
Yeah.
So there are very few pictures of you doing things
Right.
in a lot of your feed, because a lot of
Yeah.
times you're the one in there doing it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get that.
And
that's-
for the longest time, I refused to post pictures of myself.
Yeah.
And just recently, it was brought to my attention to people need someone to connect with. People need
Yeah.
someone to see who
The
you are.
subject, yeah.
So all of a sudden now, like at least every other 3 rows, I do something of me.
Yeah.
Which I hate, but
There's
okay.
a guy that I thought
I'll
this
play
was
the
really
game.
interesting. There's a guy I follow from. I should DM him, dude. That'd be a good move.
Let's do
A
it.
kid from Columbus.
Gonna get his number?
Named Kyler Holland. He's a pretty successful YouTuber. So
Sorry, dude. I'm being a jackass. I meant to bring him on the show.
It would,
I
it would
realized
actually
that
be
sounded.
a reach for us to get him on the show, but I don't know if he's done a podcast before. He's getting close to 200,000 followers on YouTube, and he's pretty big on Instagram too.
Damn.
But he's a videographer, and he just started on Instagram. Finally found out what he wanted to do with his feed. So what he does now is the first photo in the grid all the way down now is a close-up picture of him in an environment. The middle photo is a wide-angle picture of him that shows more of the space and the landscape and where he is. And the third one is a video from that. So he's got consistent. So 3 days a week he's posting, or whatever, how many days it is. But he's got a rotation. It's close, wide, video. Close, wide, video. And the videos aren't anything crazy. Like the last one he posted, they're really pretty and they got good music and all that. But like the last one he posted was they were snowboarding somewhere, and they were in these really pretty white snowy trees, and they had a Ronin, like I just bought, which has a feature where you can put the camera on it, and you can make the camera do a 360 turn on it. So like he had some push-in shots of that 360 roll, which is a cool looking shot, and then like some upward shots of the 360 of the trees and all that, and like this slow-mo, like it's nothing really complex, but it's cool. Anyways, it'd be a hard ask for me to get him on here, but
I honestly don't think. I think people see the production quality. They see that people are watching it, and really a lot of people.
He liked one of the things I posted recently. I think it was the podcast one, because we're friends on Facebook. I found him early on YouTube and was like, oh, he's from Columbus. He actually knows a lot of people I know. And it was actually when I was living in Columbus, and I added him on Facebook. And we'll go back and forth here and there. But anyways, I think it's interesting that I love his feed now. And now I realize what it is, and he actually announced it in stories one day. It was like, hey, if you didn't notice, this is what I'm doing now. I'm going close, wide video. Close, wide. I was like, dude, that's so, like, it. And I don't love feeds that are like super curated like that, because his aren't like super curated for what they are like. This line was all winter stuff. The one before wasn't. It was like maybe a little bit wintry, but it wasn't so wintry. But like I don't like the super curated stuff. I like real feeds.
It's where
of
it feels
people.
forced
Yeah.
all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I get that.
But anyways, that was just interesting to me to see and to look at. And I like that.
Yeah.
It's like you could implement something like that in your own feed. Is a piece, a personal thing, and a piece. And a piece, a personal thing, and a piece.
Yep.
Like, and it could be something personal. It could be the cat, the dog, you, Casey, dinner.
See,
blah,
that's
blah,
the
blah,
thing.
blah,
Like,
blah,
I
blah,
follow
blah.
a bunch of tattoo artists, and their tattoos are awesome. I love every single. Actually, I probably like every single picture that the artists that I follow post in general. If I'm on Instagram, I'm such a.
You're like
I
happy.
love everything. I'm just
so
like
happy
I
too,
love
dude.
this. I love this. But they'll post like a picture of them with their kids or something. I'm like, dude, that's great. That's cool. I love this because I love this person's art, and I
Yeah.
can like you have a connection with someone even if you don't know them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so those things, like he said, it makes things a little more personal, and you connect with those people a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, we are at the 1 hour mark now.
See,
I guess
it's quick, isn't it?
was it slow and painful, or was that quick? Give me the truth.
I don't feel like we've even cracked the shell.
No, we haven't. And we can keep going for a little bit, but
Like-
I just want to make sure before we do end it, if there's anything else you want to add or anything else you want to throw on. It is hard to get everything in an hour because
Yeah.
I don't. We've talked about this constantly. Like really, the
Dude, I
last
could have
30
2 or
minutes,
3 hours. Oh, the last 30
the last 30
minutes.
minutes of all of this stuff is like when I see Aiden moving to get the cameras, I'm like, all right, here we go. Like, because it's always everybody gets a little bit more going and get a little bit greased and they get
Yeah.
Alcohol
talking.
set in just a little bit for
Yeah.
everybody, and it's just a good
And all the
place to
shots
be.
we take before our
Mine's
cameras
already
get in.
gone.
Yeah, Colby chugs his every time. But every
not a
time.
bad thing.
Yeah, every time. Anything else you want to add? Because we do try to keep it to about an hour, but we will definitely. We can have you back.
Dude, I'd love to have him back. Yeah, just talk art
We can
again.
keep going because
Well, I think the moral of this talk is like, not everybody can do art.
Oh, no.
I severely disagree.
Here goes
and if
Matt.
he punches me in the face, I'm sorry. No, you're right though. Not everybody can do art.
No,
well,
I teach those people, and
Well,
not everybody.
people can be creative and create something that they call art. That doesn't mean that like when I look at your pieces and your stuff, that is art. It is beautiful. It is artistic. It is thought out.
Well, it's an individualistic thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's an individualistic path, and no one else can make that.
I couldn't do that.
But to assume that art, I guess what I'm trying to say is like to assume art is easy to do.
It is not easy to do.
No.
Right.
You know, if and like the one thing that wasn't common is like I'm a huge like I think we're both pretty competitive people. But if you handed me a piece of wood and you handed somebody else a piece of wood, I'm gonna make fucking sure that mine looks.
He's
dope.
gonna break the motherfucker over his head and he's gonna kill him.
Well, I think like mine will look dope, and I can guarantee it. I don't know what the other person's gonna do, but I'm gonna make sure that I win.
Yes.
And a thing that I think the reason why people sometimes get that misconception with art or music or anything like that is they only see that finished product.
Yes.
They don't see your process. They don't understand how your mind works compared to how someone else's mind might work. They don't understand the things that have brought you to that point in your life, you know, to create that particular
It all
piece.
factors in, and that's what people are paying for when they're paying for the musician or the sculpture or
Right.
the videographer,
Yep.
whatever it is.
The story.
Paying for all that stuff, all the behind the scenes. And you're right, not anybody can do it. And I think that you bring, and I think I also bring a unique. I don't know how competitive you. I think you are competitive.
I'm more competitive than you think,
Yeah,
but
we haven't talked about it, but I
really
think you're
chill
sneaky
and just
competitive.
I'm so chill a lot of the
Yeah,
time.
but you're
you can't
he's
tell.
sneaky competitive. Though.
Sneaky.
But like I'm overtly competitive. Like I told you last week.
Just like he finished his beer before everybody else.
I saw yours.
I saw yours and I was like, nope.
I saw his, and I was like, I can beat him to the beer. I looked at it.
That's
I looked
one
at
thing
it.
I'm good at. I'm not good at a lot, but like that stupid country song, I'm pretty good at drinking beer.
Yeah.
So
Well, last week I had a meeting with a guy that's going to pay me a good amount of money to do some projects, and
Yeah.
we just kind of finished up. We were kind of shooting the shit. And
Oh,
I,
yeah,
I
this
said,
is funny.
I saw golf clubs in his office. I said, "You golf?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you want to lose?" Which is not something you should say to like.
Probably not until you get close
No,
the deal,
yeah,
maybe.
but he
I
goes.
don't know though. I feel like just be yourself,
Yeah,
dude.
but that's that.
Yeah.
He, like you said last week, that is me. And I was like, I'm just kidding, whatever. And he's like, do you want to bet the paycheck I'm going to give you on that round? And I was like, not yet. I'm
We
confident,
go to the range
but
for a
not
minute.
that confident because I kind of need that paycheck because it's going to pay for all the shit I just bought this week.
Right.
Anyways, I think you're right. I think art is the process, the beginning to end, the experiences that get you from where you start to where you are now to create that piece. That's what people are paying for.
And people don't
And you don't see
understand
that.
how hard of workers artists are sometimes. Like
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes people just see your stuff and they're like, oh, so you went into a room for 4 hours and put something together and then that was it. You know, they don't understand
Yeah.
the music, the pre-production of it all, where you're sketching and you're kind of doing that. The demo for me is basically what that is.
Yeah.
And they don't see how you're constantly having to improve it. You have to think about the types of wood. You have to think about this and that and whatever. And I think that I love that music.
Wow, party foul. I probably didn't even come through on the microphones at all.
Right, it didn't get picked up by it at all.
Dub in something. in
Yeah,
post.
yeah, it didn't come through at all.
But I feel like there's just a misconception with a lot of that kind
I
of
think there
stuff in
is.
general.
I don't know if I finished my thought. I think the competitiveness and the artistic eye in the process is a unique thing that I think we all possess that is coming into the market that wasn't really there before so much. And I think if you can marry the artist with the killer entrepreneur, business-minded person that's competitive, wants to rip everybody's faces off, but also wants to help people, like that dichotomy is really where you end up getting where you want to go.
Yeah.
And it's like helping people, but also destroying your competition is like so polar opposite, but you can do both. You can help the people that matter, but you can destroy your competition. You can make sure that piece is better than anybody else's.
You just shake hands with everybody that you meet and kick ass every ass that you see.
Yep, can do.
Stay humble.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm not good at that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard for a lot of people.
I try. I really have made a concerted effort to try to be more humble, but it's only gonna go so far.
Yeah, it's like now being 32 and getting critiqued by.
I've got to tell you, he's old as fuck.
Yeah, I'm pretty old.
This is not much. Okay. Yeah, you're old as fuck.
Yeah, fucker.
I don't think I would take many words from anybody. Like being critiqued now, I'm not really interested in it. I've been through that, death trap of flames every year until I was, 27. But now it's just like, with all that knowledge, I mean, a sculpture for me is the labor, the blood. I mean, no bullshit, I'd probably bleed on every piece that I do in some fashion. But
Sealed with blood.
yeah, I mean, and you spend so much time with this particular piece. You form a relationship, and it's sad to see it go sometimes. But it's like even I have 7 sculptures right now. None of them are online. None of them are for
See, I
sale.
don't think I could
It's
do
just
that. Like, I don't think I could
I hold
let
on to
the
my
piece
shit.
go, man.
No, it's super hard, especially when you have like 160 hours into something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I won't make it public.
Yeah.
That's like a personal experiment, a particular time in my life.
So that's your
It's
winter,
just
time, pretty much.
Yeah.
You're able to make those things
Yeah,
that you can
absolutely.
hold for
Something I've been
yourself.
stewing about for months, or something I drew back in January or July. It's just I'll revisit it or work on it here and there, but I never let that stop.
Yeah.
So
I think it's important too. I have a couple personal projects that I have not been able to get to because of all the shit I've had to do, and
Yeah.
that's like I'm gonna start trying to do more of that here next month or so.
right,
But,
and we've been wanting to do a documentary on the whole
Yeah.
thing. We just haven't had time.
yeah, that's something that I'd like to get done this summer for you and for me as well
That'd be
because
cool.
it builds my portfolio to do that. But, hey Colby, I might need a second cameraman. You want to come?
Give me a stabilizer.
Oh my god, I'm not even gonna knock you on that, dude. I love you, man. That was just. There are some usable shots, but god damn, you're a shaky motherfucker. I think I gave him a camera, dude. It was like, Jesus, Colby.
palsy.
I can do photography. Videography, I always have to have a stabilizer. I should have said that, but I walked in and he handed me a camera and I was like, oh man, I should probably tell. And then it was like, all right, so I'm gonna move this over here and we're starting. I was like, oh man, okay. I press record. I'm like, great. All I'm gonna do is be able to put it in place for about 10 seconds and then my hands are gonna be doing
Wait a
this.
minute, it wasn't about 10.
It wasn't any time at all, dude.
Did you hold your breath?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Take your
half the
elbows,
time.
pinch them into your side, deep breath.
It doesn't matter.
That's how you do it.
Dude, I can go to touch anything and my hands are
I
like
know,
this.
it's
So,
I think that's all from us. Thank you all for watching. We'll put everything in the description down below. Links to Aiden and Colby and Wayne and myself. We appreciate you all. We'll probably try to get you back on here sometime in the near future because we can talk for a lot longer about all this stuff.
yeah.
And that's, the first times always takes a little bit of time to get moving.
Because you have to introduce yourself.
I think like Larry, dude, the second time was just like blah out the gate. So like it'll happen.
It's like, I got something to say.
Hey, yo, girl. Anyways, that's all. Thank you for watching. We will catch you next time. We out.
Yeah, but I know I'm going to have to.